Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Sunday Messages. This is Reverend Sydney Finn, as always. And today we are going to be talking about clean, but of course, I always include the energetics. I always make these episodes nice and juicy for you. So we're going to be covering quite a lot of different points today and things that have been very active for a lot of my clients. I want to bring into this conversation as well, just because there is definitely something that has happened as I have shifted the context of my life, let's say, and now everything is kind of orchestrating around all of this. It's all lining up with this context. It's all organizing around this context that I have set. So let's back up for a moment and go back to October of 2021. This was the first round of Apex that I ever ran. And of course, me taking myself through that container and through that protocol for the first time, it really illuminated just how energetically refined I could get. And the intention for Apex was really about, and still is about, getting yourself into peak performance. However, when I'm talking about peak performance, you could equate it to like a cut cycle for a bodybuilder, right? So you don't always want to be in a cut phase. Like, there are times to bulk and there are times to cut. It's just a different ebb and flow that you have going on with what you're doing energetically. There are some times where I kind of want to relax and just enjoy what I've created in my life and go with the flow a little bit more. And then there's times where I really want to tighten everything up and I want to get into peak condition and I want to be extra disciplined within myself and just access really powerful parts of me, but a different type of power. So there's different seasons for different things. However, the one thing that came from that first round of Apex was this clarity around energetic cleanliness, because things were happening so quickly in my life and my energetics had changed so much in a very short amount of time, which of course was the intention. But it then planted this idea within me about being able to take that energetic cleanliness and extend it over a long period of time. And it's funny because I actually had this idea for clean come up last December. I had the download for this mastermind, completely forgot about it, and then it pinged me again and wanted me to create it. And it's funny because I completely forgot that I had this idea in December. I rediscovered this idea that I had already had. And then later on, I found the note in my phone with the idea that was dated back in December. It was such a trip. I'm like, okay, there's absolutely something here that needs to be created. And so, of course, as soon as I made the decision, yes, I'm going to move forward with this, and I had the vision for the branding, and I had the structure of everything that I wanted to do, and I knew the vibe of the container and the discussions that we would be having, it was interesting seeing how all of these other dimensions and elements of energetic cleanliness started to click into place, and they would come up in conversations that I would have with clients. So talking about being clean around your relationship with money, being clean in different elements of your identity, being clean in the timing of your action, in what you're doing. Make sure that there's energetic cleanliness there, that things are dominantly clean so you can get to where you want to go faster. Because the other thing that really is obvious when you go through Apex is things respond to you at light speed because you're so energetically congruent with your desires that things just click into place. Things just shift, move, reorganize. And sometimes that does look like you needing to change what you're doing and how you're holding yourself and how much rest you're allowing. Like, there are different logistical things that people go through. But when it comes to your energetic congruency, if you want to receive things quickly, if you want to go fast, if you want things to respond to you fast, the dimension that needs to be focused on is the cleanliness. And you guys know, I've been talking about this for years, this idea of energetic debris. Okay, so energetic debris is kind of like this old funk that maybe you thought you had completely moved past, but it still pops up in your field. Or little inconveniences, minor things that show up that are less than ideal, but it's just that debris. So it's not necessarily something that is like a worse nightmare for you, but it's also something that you don't want, where you would like things to go differently. I refer to that as energetic debris. And then there are other frequencies that I straight up call energetic trash. So something like any discussion of a bad economy is you're introducing energetic trash into your system as soon as that gets lit up. Or another type of energetic trash that's really common is like constantly going back into your past and carrying this huge bag of trash with you, talking about how things have been in the past. Your past is not an indication of what is going to happen in the future unless you continually reactivate it. So that's why for a lot of people, if you're not fond of the past, then probably dipping back into the past is putting you in an energetic minefield. It's just not going to serve you to go back there because there's a lot of frequencies that are old, outdated paradigms that you don't want to engage in anymore, shit that you have no business dabbling in anymore. And so it is much better for you to orient yourself towards desires. It's much better for you to cleanly want. This is something I was talking about on Instagram, as far as want it, then shut up. Just want what you want, then do not say anything else, because a lot of the time people will poison their manifestations through mental objections to the desire, or explanations for why you can't have it, or why it's not likely, or why you shouldn't want that, or why it's too much, or why it's unrealistic. I mean, there is a laundry list of reasons and justifications that you can give for your own limitations. However, is that really where you want to play? It's like you're rolling around in the mud. You should probably get out of there. It was also interesting. Yesterday, I went to physical therapy. And my physical therapist loves when I come in because we get to talk about manifestation, and she's very new to manifestation anything. She's very new to energetics. Even though she's very open-minded, right? She used to be a yoga teacher. She's a pelvic floor physical therapist. Like she's open to energetics and healing and all of this stuff, if you will. However, I'm literally living in a Hogwarts reality, and she's still pretty tethered to the Muggle world. That's basically the energetic difference that is happening. And so I bring all of my fairy magic into the office whenever I'm there. And she started telling me about this love interest of hers, this guy that she's interested in, and then immediately started introducing energetic trash. Immediately started talking about why it's a ridiculous fantasy, started downplaying everything, talking against what she wants, and then feeling bad as a result. And I just can't help but notice how relevant that conversation is to the context that I've set for this container. I'm like, you're doing the very thing that you have no business doing right now. Because the other piece of this that I think we adopt in childhood from a lot of people is to be skeptical of desire. Or there's somewhat of a, you should be apprehensive, you should tone it down. You should play smaller. You should start smaller. And it's like, okay, there's wisdom in shrinking something down simply to get your full energy behind it. I'm not even opposed to that idea, because that is something that works strategically for some people early on. However, constantly training yourself to be skeptical of your desires is in fact the issue. Where if instead you treat your desires like the North Star, that's the piece, that's the element that you actually want to follow, that you want to line up with and synchronize and harmonize with by doing the mental, emotional, and energetic work in order to catch up with it, that's gold. That is going to lead to your greatest evolution, your greatest amount of growth, your greatest amount of success. And if you can fully get on board with that, your life is actually going to get easier, not harder. But typically for most people, we could call it like a muscular system that needs to be built. After so many years of being taught to speak against your desires, be skeptical, be fearful, doubt them, contradict them, after so much programming about that, it is rocky at first. It is push and pull. It is taking yourself through those seasons of yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, like this tug of war with yourself internally. That's a part of the process of breaking through the previous paradigm. Until you kind of have that come to Jesus moment where you do realize you are creating, and yes, you can have it, and yes, it is available to you, and you get a taste of what's available. Part of reactivating this internal system within you is just collecting a little bit of data. This is why people like to play with things that are low stakes in the beginning, like signs or focus on yellow cars or something like that, where you pick something that doesn't have huge emotional baggage attached to it. Because once again, that emotional baggage, the contradiction, the doubt, the fa la 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 la, is what gets in the way of you just receiving the thing with ease. Because how this whole thing is supposed to go here on earth, you in your creatorship, is it's supposed to be easy for you to just receive it. That's what actually wants to happen here. There's not supposed to be an insane amount of friction between you wanting and receiving the thing. Now, that exists as a part of the adventure, as a part of the fun, a part of the human experience that you get to have. However, when you are really crisp in your energetics and when you're really clean in your energetics, the friction is reduced substantially. So therefore, the time that it's taking you is collapsed, because part of how we're using our time is simply talking ourselves into believing. Right? Talking ourselves into knowing, right? Because knowing is absolutely ideal. Playing in the frequencies of knowing, certainty, this is absolute. Having a strong energetic determination is something that will absolutely lead to the thing, because there's no contradiction in certainty. Now, what's hard for people? Getting to certainty. Holding certainty long enough to where you get the stuff and you get the things and you get the experience. That's the piece that people generally take their sweet ass time with, where you sit in that yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. That's what actually takes us forever. So the idea with clean is by continually being able to plug into that container and plug into my frequency. It's like you might be slipping and sliding, but then you can plug into the container and be like, oh yeah, right. Okay, coming back, dropping back into certainty, coming back into knowing, coming back into the frequencies that I desire in order to get the thing, get to where I want to go, embody the thing that is going to lead to the outcome that I desire. And this is pretty much what we do with any type of practitioner. right? It's like if you're going to a therapist, your therapist is probably going to be holding a pillar of emotional healing that you might drop. And then you have to come back your next session, you touch base, you connect to that pillar of your emotional healing and well-being, and you do that over and over and over and over until you hold the frequency yourself. So, and that's also true. That's true of doctors. That's true of anything that you want to learn, anything that you want to integrate. It's about being able to dip back into that frequency that you are wanting to hold for yourself. And so this idea of energetic clarification, purity, and cleanliness is something that I have been so immersed in. And because this has been something that I've been holding deep practice around, everyone else is showing it to me. So all of these really interesting conversations have come up, and my favorite thing to do on the face of planet Earth is to see all of the things that are going on energetically that you might not be able to see or you might not catch. So the best way I can describe it is a client will bring something to me. For example, one of the things that was semi-recent, I had a client come to me and we opened up a conversation about the idea and frequency of worthiness. So my personal favorite question is, describe it to me. And as soon as a client describes something to me, I've got it. Like, I see exactly what you're communicating to the quantum field. I know exactly what's going on, and I know exactly what you're going to be an energetic match for as a result of embodying that. So if there is any fleck of debris on what you've just described, I'm going to catch it. Because it's not about what you're telling yourself as much as it is what is the frequency that you're emitting to the quantum field, because that's going to reveal what it is that you get. So my superpower is understanding what is the subtext of the energetics that you're offering that is going to result in blah, 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 whatever the thing might be. And the other cool part, and this is something that even I forget sometimes. I'm not always 100% dialed into this because some things are time sensitive. Sometimes I can't always get my energy nice and pristine before I have to jump into action. But the cool thing about when you are in this clarified, energetic state is that it makes action much clearer. And I kind of want to use the word safe. Like, if your energetics are just super refined, your action is going to mimic that energetic input, right? I've talked about this before, input, output. That's a very important concept to understand, because if you are taking action from fear, desperation, hatred, trying to resist something, the outcome is going to be tainted. Like, the end product is going to hold that ingredient that you originally added to the cake. So you're going to eat it later. If you input it now, you're going to taste it later. So being able to be sharp, clean, refined, clarified in what it is that you are offering energetically is absolutely one of the best things that you can do for yourself, because it ensures like the input feels really good. The input tastes really good. And that's something where you don't have to take so much time to back up the action. The other cool thing, this has been really, really clear coming out of Apex, because Apex is ultimately the thing that gave birth to clean. Just my understanding of clean energetics after taking myself through that first protocol, it changed everything. It changed my vision completely around energetics. And what has occurred for me is life has actually become a revolving manifestation. So instead of, in the in the good old days, way back when, in my very, very early practices of manifestation, it was like little pops of manifestations all over the place, but it was more sporadic. So there would be more lulls, there would be more highs and lows. It wasn't as stable. It was kind of like, you can imagine a plane trying to get off the tarmac. It's like I keep touching down, jumping up, touching down, jumping up. But I wasn't taking full flight yet. Whereas now what I'm experiencing is that every day feels like it was created by me by design. All of this now feels intentional. The frequencies that I'm in every day feel very deliberate. Like, oh, this is something that I actually planted a while back. This is something that has been in the oven and now it's finally ready, or all of these seeds are starting to sprout. And so just like way back when I was planting seeds every day, now I'm picking fruit every day. So it's interesting when you become clarified and stable in this, after a long enough time, so many seeds are in the ground that you have a bitchin' garden that you get to pick from every single day. But your planting has to be as consistent as humanly possible. The frequencies that you're emitting have to be stable first. That's the cleanliness piece that leads to that long-term stability that we're all wanting, right? So if you have a whole bunch of funky thoughts around money, a whole mixed bag of thoughts and feelings around money, well, then you're going to get a whole bunch of funkiness around money, instability around money. So it is a practice in clarified consistency in frequency over time. That's what we're all aiming at if we want to be in this revolving manifestation where every day was of our own creation. It is anyway, but in terms of I'm enjoying the daily experience of my life, and it's on purpose and it's intentional, and I am doing this and I am making this happen, and it is for my pleasure. This cleanliness piece bleeds into pretty much everything. You may have seen that reel that I posted on Instagram where it was just like action, decisions, identity, thought forms, feelings. Like it bleeds into everything if you want it to. But personally for myself, and not everyone is going to want to be so energetically disciplined that they're like hand painting each and every day of their life experience. I want that. I want the most refined, luxurious, intentional, deliberate, every day of my life is the most beautiful painting imaginable. That's what I want. I completely understand that not everyone is going to want to live that way, but my God, I am just addicted to it now. Like I can't stop. I can't unsee it. I can't unwant a delicious life. Like there's no going back. So the overarching question in clean is, imagine if you had absolute clarified frequency that was completely harmonic with your desire and you sustained that for months. Can you imagine what that would be like? Really contemplate that. Really think about that. If I am focused, if I am clear, if I am handcrafting my life experience, if all of this is on purpose, if I have a choice, if I can be clean and sharp in this, what becomes possible? Because remember, the quantum field is responding to you. You're in charge. You're the one who decides what you emit and when. You're also the one who decides how long you hold something. Because you can drop things, but your ability to hold something over a long period of time is key here. Because that is what's going to open up what I'm talking about with a revolving manifestation where every day is a manifestation. It's because the consistency and congruency of your frequency leading up to when things start dropping in. So if you only line up with it sometimes, or you only get on board with it 20% of the time, that's not going to be as effective as if you're doing it 85% of the time, right? You've got that 15% where maybe you don't have quite as much of a handle on it, but my God, think about that 85%, that high level of your frequency is intentional and dominant, and it is congruent to what you want. Like this is it, folks. This is it. So anyway, the reason why I feel so strongly about this is because I feel like I have unlocked this magical world. I have been given the key to life. I just feel like this is so clear and so obvious and so fucking real that of course I'm going to have a mastermind about it. How could I not? And the interesting thing about masterminds, and actually also my one-on-one work has somewhat become this as well. It's kind of like this energy of people are bringing me things and then they're like, okay, riff. Like, here's a topic, here's what's going on. Now, I just want you to riff on this for me. And when I tell you this is like my dream life, are you kidding me? People coming into my world who I love and just saying, okay, riff on this. Tell me, give me what you got. Like, bring this through for me. What does God have to say about this? It makes the containers so rich. And so every time I get on a call these days, I literally have to stop and say, oh my God, this is so good. Holy shit, this is so good. Like I've been going for hours and it's just the conversation is out of this world. And the information that's coming through is just so next level. I feel like I could do this all day. Like I am so full of life and so full of energy and I'm so in alignment. It's crazy. Like I've been telling people I feel like I'm in another dimension right now. And so it's so funny, like my clients are actually the ones who evoke all of this from me. And one of my one-on-one clients, like I was going so deep. There was so much coming up in this conversation. And I just stopped. I said, oh my God, isn't this so good? This is so fucking good. Like I can't. Like I'm going to explode with excitement. So this is also something that I've kind of baked into my mastermind containers because it continues to show up again and again and again and again, which is almost this masterclass energy where like there might be a topical theme that's coming up and I'm just being asked to riff. So what has this happened particularly in Eden. A conversation would emerge, right? I'm getting asked questions, things are happening, things are unfolding, and I just start going. I just start talking. You guys know I talk a lot. I got a lot to say. There's a lot of information coming through, and I'm a psychic, so my God, it is a whole lot of information that comes through during these calls, and it's so nice having like an intimate space with these rich conversations. And people are just like scribbling notes and like, oh my God, this is so good. Oh my God, I can't get over this. Oh my God, I can't get enough. And it's like every call feels that way. And even if there's not necessarily a clear direction, it just finds its way into that pocket of like, holy shit, I can't believe all of this has come through off of like the most minuscule question. But it busts open this whole energetic can of worms that takes us into this really unexpected place. So if you are unfamiliar with how I run masterminds, just so you know what the container looks like, it's a Voxer room, which I'm a big fan of Voxer. Voice memos, texts, it's like a private group chat for all of us. And so we can talk to each other. There's no time limit, so we can send voice memos. We can write as much as we want, send photos, send videos, all of that stuff in the Voxer room. And I like that it's off of social media so that it's like you're not constantly having to dip into social media every time. You can like take a break but still be connected in Voxer. So I freaking love Voxer. So that's one of the ways that we connect first and foremost. Then for Clean, we do bi-weekly calls. So it's every other week. We get on Zoom, and if the people inside have a lot of stuff that they want to work on, that they're asking about, some weeks are like really, really active where a lot's going on. And then other weeks it's a little bit more open where people just want me to get on a roll, start talking about something, or bringing almost a lecture style. Like, this is something that I've noticed, or this is something that I've been seeing. And so then I can bring that to the group if it's relevant. So it really is driven by the people who are inside the container. And there's usually a theme that comes up, right? Because we're all in the same energetic frequency. We're all in this container together. And so a lot of the time there will be like a common thread for everyone in that call. But then, of course, anything in between, I mean, lots of discussions open up on Voxer, and I'll riff in Voxer, and it is so much fun. It is so much fun. I love masterminds so much. And it's all pleasure-based. Like, this is the other thing, is it's like, if you're in a mastermind, it's because you want expansion, you want elevation, you want to be immersed in these conversations, you want to be connected, you want community, you want to like expand your network, connect with other people that you might not know or meet otherwise. It is such a blast. And on top of that, the cool thing, at least for me, about the masterminds that I run is that it's all energetics. It's energetics. So it's like, what do you want? Let's play around with energetics. That's what we're all here to do. And so many cool practices and different archetypes, and just playing with different energetic tools. And then maybe there are different practices that other people have that they want to bring to the discussion, and different ideas and insight and wisdom that they have that they can offer other people. And it is a total blast. I love masterminds so much. I could go on and on and on about how much I love them. Anyway, so Clean is going to be taking place from July to November of 2022. That's when this is running. So if you are feeling called, if you're feeling, yes, I want that. Yes, I'm in. Yes, 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 yes. If your body is saying yes, you can apply through the link. It will be in the description box or show notes. For those of you who are wanting Apex, I'm going to be opening up applications for Apex for the October round. It's all going to be opening up in July. And I've also added an extended payment plan if you're just needing more spacing. So you can be all squared up by the time we start in October. If you need that, I've opened that up as well. So there's a wait list for Apex right now, and that is filling up. So if you want to get on there, get on there. And remember, that's going to be October and November of this year is the next round I'm going to be doing Apex. And that's going to be a blast as well. So all of that will be in the description box, show notes. If you follow me on Instagram, it's in the link in my bio. And that's a wrap, everyone. This has been so fun. Thank you for listening. I hope this has been beneficial for you. And I will talk to you all later. Have a wonderful week. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Good one. Bye-bye. Good one. Bye-bye.